Well, hello and happy Thursday. Welcome to Elegant Sentiments today. I'm Sheryl Abernathy. I'm the owner of Elegant Sentiments, and I'm here with our weekly card share number 70. We are going to be crafting with more of Lisa Horton Crafts products. And so we'll just go ahead and get going with the products that we have. Okay, so for the ink colors that I'm using for today's project, I've got one of the new Color Shift products, and this is Lilac Meadow. And for those that may not know how Color Shift ink works, it's you get two colors of ink out of the same ink pad. So if you ink on white or light colored cardstock, you'll get this purple color. And if you ink on dark colored stock, it'll give you this green color. And then excuse me, I'm sorry here. The second ink that I'm using is a metallic ink. This is her second release of metallic inks, and this is the Verdigris. It's a nice little green color. So those are the inks, and then I've got the all year round blooms. These were released with her spring collection. So we'll be using this bloom again this week. I think I used this last week, I can't remember. And then I've already cut out the largest scallop from this set, so any scalloped oval die that you might have will work, but this is one of Lisa's spring releases. This is an older embossing folder. It's the background script, and I've already embossed the background on our A2 size card with this. And then we have the butterfly silhouettes. This is a registration press plate and die set, and we're just going to use the sentiment from this one. So these are the products. I'll move them out of the way. And I think I'll do some die cutting first. Let me show you the sample that I've made. And I'm going to change it up a little bit for today, but here is the sample. You can see what I did here. I hot foiled the sentiment for this one, and I used some Spellbinders, one of their packaged glimmer foils. These are all really soft pastels, and I used this little lilac color there for the sentiment. And I don't know if these have the colors. No, it just says variety pack, so I don't even know what the name of that foil is. I don't think they sell it separately. I just think they sell it as a pack. So this is a Spellbinders hot foil pack that I used, but we're going to do some better press for our sentiments today. And then I used some colored vellum for my flowers. So we'll go ahead and get started by cutting out our vellum. I've got a couple pieces of this light green vellum. Any colors, you can create your own color combinations, but this is the one that I used, and we're going to use this flower. So a set cuts 3 different flowers. And I'm going to use this one with let me see if this might fit on here. Let's see. Nope, not going to make it, I don't think. So we're going to go ahead and die cut this flower. And there's lots of texture in this die. I think you can see it. But yeah, all of maybe not. But there's texture in the die. Maybe after I cut it, you'll be able to see some of that texture a little bit. No, I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, there's lots of texture there. So we'll go ahead and put this into our die cut and emboss machine here. And we'll cut this and come right back. I hope your week has been going great so far and that you're staying cool. It's been another scorcher of a week here And we've had quite a bit of rain the last couple days. So let's see here. Go ahead and get this off. And then here's mine. You can use this. You don't even need colored vellum. Obviously, you can do this with just clear vellum also, or you don't even have to use vellum. You can use cardstock. But those are my pieces. Let me get this out of the way, and we'll go ahead and get our flower put together here. So let me move these dies before I lose them, because I'm really good at losing dies. I still got a little small heart die that's somewhere in my craft room that's buried, and I'm going to get some piece of white paper. Maybe it'll be easier for you to see these little flowers, because it has kind of a green background on my desktop. Okay, so you can feel the texture on the vellum. You don't really see it that much on the vellum, but it's very noticeable when you cut paper. So I'm going to ink up my flower. I'm going to use the verdigris for the base, and then I'll go around and tip the tips of the flowers using the lilac meadow. So this again is another optional step. You don't necessarily have to ink up your flower your flower petals if you don't want to, but that's the option that I chose. And just ink up these petals all around. And just making sure that the leaves are all covered. And then we'll go back and accent the tips with that lilac. We'll do that for both these petal sets. I've been trying to get my craft room reorganized, and that is a tall order, because when I was off with my surgery, I was watching and buying up more product, and I already have a craft room full of product, of course, but you can never have too many. But I did buy a bunch, so now I absolutely have to make room for the new products that I bought. And this one. And you can color, if you don't want a deep color, you can color the back of this vellum and it'll give you a lighter look. But I like this, and I like the shimmer of this metallic ink. You can actually see the shimmer even on the vellum when it's done. Okay, so I think I've got as much. Let me go ahead and do just the center of this one. And because the majority of this one is going to be the lilac meadow. So that's all we need for that. And then coming in now with the lilac, and just going across the tips of these leaves with the lilac color. And you could decide how much or how little you want, but just enough to add a little extra color on these leaves. And you can have them different amounts on each leaf. It doesn't have to be the exact same. But just using a small stencil brush and going around getting all these, and you could use a larger stencil brush for this actually too, if you don't happen to have a small stencil brush. Okay, and then here's my little baby petals. And these I am making a little bit darker than the bigger ones. And then we got to do the flower center with just going all around these spokes with the lilac metal ink. I think I got them all there. Oh, this one probably needs a little bit more. So that's all you have to do for that. And then I'm going to glue these together with just glue. Prime it just a little bit. And there's my little pokey. Here we go. And put that on there. And hold it down for a second or two. You do have a little bit of time to adjust that. And then we'll do the same thing with this flower center. And hold that down just for a second. Give it a chance to grip. And I have to be careful because I'm really good at gluing it down to paper. So I don't want to let that sit there too terribly long before I move it up. Okay, so now I'm going to get this out of the way. The next thing I want to do, I'm going to bend these flower petals because this is a pretty stiff vellum and I want my flower petals to have a little more shape to them. So I'm just bending down the spine of the leaf. When you look at the, when you see this up close, I know it won't show on the camera, but there is like a little line in the leaf. So I'm just pinching it along that line to give it a little more dimension. Oh, I've been sounding so hoarse all week long. I'm not, but it seems like when I talk, maybe I need some more, open up a window or something. Of course, it's too hot. You open up the window and you about suffocate. It's hot and humid, and that is not a good combination for me. So I'm just bending all of those up. And then if you want to, you could take the little tool with the little ball on the end. I don't know what it's called. And you could bend it even more, but I think this will suffice for what I'm trying to do. And then that last little petal. Okay, so we've got some good dimension on that flower. So we'll set that aside for now. And then we'll work on our uh, sentiments. So I'll bring in these sentiments again, and we'll pull out the sentiments. I've done a couple videos using this, and I can't remember where I did this, but these come in one. There's 4 different sentiments, and it's all on one piece, and the die will cut all 4 of those. So we're going to do the love and the 4, and then take these dies out because I'm going to need these in a second. And then this time I'm going to ink it up with the Lilac Meadow, I think, and just tap. And the nice thing about the Better Press, if you run it through one time and you don't have a good coverage, you can do it a second time. But I'm going to try to ink it up well enough and see if I can get it through with one pass. And then I need a piece of white cardstock, and I just need to put that onto my plate here. I probably could have got that ready before I started inking, huh? That would be a better approach, but hopefully we're not drying out too much while I do this. And then just flip it over. And the nice thing about this, if you don't have enough ink on there, if you don't like the results, you can just add more ink and run it through again. So this is I'm running this right through my embossing machine, just like I would a die or embossing folder. And let's see if we got it. Yeah, I think we did good with one pass. So I'll go ahead and take this off. I keep my tape on here because no point in wasting tape. And then we can do our die cut. Put my plates back in my folder and grab some tape. I like this purple color. I think it's pretty. And it's a little shimmery. Hard to show the shimmer on the camera, but it does have a little shimmer even in these little letters. More on the love than the teeny weeny ones, but we'll just line this up. And tape it down. And we should be good to go. We'll go ahead and run this through, and then we'll be ready to put it all together and make our card. Okay. So now we'll punch these out. Okay. Put that where I won't lose it. And then I did do some pre-work. And what I think I want to do for this one, instead of having everything be white, I'm going to ink up this panel. Where's here we go. I'm going to put a little ink around the edges of this panel just so that it's not completely white the way that one is, and let's see which one I like better. I just want just a little bit of color going around this folder. Don't have to worry too much about the center, but just a light, just nice light color. And you can see it just a wee bit. Okay, so we've done that. And then we can go ahead and add this to our card front. Again, this is an A2 size panel, so this is 4 4¼ by 5½. And we'll go ahead and put this down. I'm going to go ahead and use my tape runner because there's still a lot of, even though this is embossed, there's a lot of place for this tape to grip. So I'm not worried about it popping up. And we'll add this to our card front. Push that down a little bit and then burnish our inside so we get good contact all around. Okay, so there we go. And then we can add our scalloped oval. And I like having that little bit of extra color around. And we'll glue this. Since it's going down on texture, I'm going to go with glue instead of okay. That should be good enough. And then we just want to put this down in the center of our card front. That's pretty good. And then I'm going to burnish that again. Okay. All right, and so now we can kind of play around with our flower and our sentiment. And I'm going to, let's see, what are my options here? We've got, let me flip that over. So we've got sending your way. So we could say sending love your way. We could say with lots of, maybe we'll do that. Let's try that one. You could do with lots of love and best wishes. How about that? Yeah, I think I'll do that. I like that. And that can go, I think I like them kind of offset. Okay, so now I'm going to use a foam square to hold up that that flower. I think. I didn't do that on my sample, but I want to do it for this one. I think. Okay. So we want that in the center and kind of like that, and push it down so that'll stick well. And then we can go ahead and add glue to the rest of our sentiments. And we'll be almost done. We've got some embellishing to do. And I found this class online. I don't typically do like fun folds or anything like that, but I did find this one fun fold online, and I may play, if I get time this week, I may play around with it and see if I can come up with one to do for next week. At least that's the thought for now. It's a lot of time between now and then. Give me too much time and I'll certainly change it up. But that's my thinking for right now. We'll see what the week brings. Okay, so we've got with lots of love and best wishes. Is that straight? Yeah. Okay. We move these out of the way and get all my junk picked up and find where I put my embellishments. And we can add those and we'll be done. Get my space cleared off a little bit here. Okay, so embellishments, where are you? Here they are. Okay, so I've got some, these are Spellbinders fashion oysters, but you could use, if you've got some purple gems, that would be pretty. Or if you've got silver or even gold, you could use a lot of different ones with this one. And so I'm going to put a bigger one here in the center of my flower. That's pretty good. And then to do all the little ones around, I just started with one at the top of my oval. Come on here. And I did one at the bottom of my oval. And then I did the sides. You know what? I'm going to put that right there. It's kind of hard to tell because I wasn't thinking about my gems when I put this on my, let's see. So this one will go here. And this one will go over here. And then that could be enough, but I always have to be a little extra. So I'm going to put one there. And here. And let's see, you know what? That one probably could come up a little bit. Yep, it's not. There we go. That looks better. Well, if you can get it over your finger, that looks a little better. And then one over here. Okay, so there you go. That is today's project. One, we did some foiling, and the other one we did better press, and we added some color. So let me know in the comments if you think one is prettier than the other. I thank you so much for watching. If you like the video, please be sure to give me a thumbs up and leave a comment for me. That'll help other people see my video. I hope that you have a fantastic week. I'll be back next week with another card to share. And I'll also be blogging on Wednesday at elegantsentiments.com. So thank you. I appreciate you being here. If you're watching live or if you're watching remotely, thank you for being here. Have a fantastic week and live graciously. We'll see you next time. Bye.